A very good evening to all our viewers, and welcome to this to today's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Taiwan Jabala, your host. Let's look at today's headlines. Tonight on the show, we are joined by Charles Mukwaso. He is president of the Namibia Society of Engineers, and he is here to talk to us about what his industry and the related industries actually can do to put the country forward as we battle to of course, embrace the latest in the world of technology and everything. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank
you
very much.
Yeah. Let me talk to you first about I'm sure you've kept up with this whole concept about the fourth industrial revolution. Mm-hmm. That the president even, as a matter of fact, launched a task force in recent weeks. Just your general take on that. What would you say?
All right. So I think, as you may have already seen, this is common knowledge. I mean, Namibia, like a lot of other African countries, we just follow what the rest of the world is doing. Ours is never really a thing of being part of the system, being part of the ideas, the innovative concepts that are coming up, and so ours is usually just playing catch up, and we never really catch up. So now the fourth industrial revolution, in 2018, when we organized and hosted the first engineering week in Namibia, we discussed the fourth industrial revolution to length. It was one of the pillars of the themes of the program. Now we are here. So what we have always been talking about has been making sure that as a country and as a continent, we are ready, and not only ready to play catch up, but ready to be part of the process, the systems of the world and so forth. I mean, we are talking about the fourth industrial revolution now. We are not even done fully comprehending the third one. So that's the situation in which we are. The talking is good, but talking alone never really, you can't really say you're doing anything by talking. That's from our assessment, is that that's the position in which we are. You can even see with regards to what type of conversations we are having, what types of professionals we are putting in place. You know, you can tell that it can be quite impossible to actually achieve what we are talking about.
What is the, realistically speaking, which of these industrial revolutions are we at the moment? Are we at the third one? Are we at the second one? Did we exhaust the third one already, and therefore we are now ready for the fourth one? Where are we?
Realistically speaking, we are playing catch up with the second one, because the first industrial revolution was actually people of the world moved from hand methods of production and so forth. We moved now to mechanized processes, especially in the textile sector. So this is a revolution that started in Europe at the end of the 17th and also part of the 18th centuries, and actually those processes, that revolution, the echoes of that revolution can still be felt across the world today. And then the second revolution built on that one. That's when electrical processes, electrical production was introduced worldwide. And then we adopted now partial automated systems in terms of production and industrial processes and so forth. So then some of those systems we're still using today. And then the third revolution now built on that now to introduce programmable production systems and so forth, whereby you use chips and automated technologies. But as you may know, in Namibia, our industry, we do not even have production facilities. We import the majority of what we consume. We are mostly consumers. We have a few industries, such as the ones that are run by the Ministry of Defense, as far as manufacturing processes are concerned. That's basically it, because industrial development must involve manufacturing production. This is where now you come up and set up production systems and tools, which we don't do. We simply import those. So when you look at our industrial ecosystem, we don't have systems in place where we motivate or encourage or invest in the production of tools or design of tools that we use for production process and so on. And that's why we import. We are net importers. So that's why in my assessment, we are basically still playing catch up with the second revolution, because we still do not have the production systems of our own. The timber that we use, even the timber that we produce, or the trees that we allow other countries to mine and then send overseas for further processing. You talk of paper that comes from wood and so forth. All of those things are still largely produced from outside. And then you talk of more serious systems, such as the ones that we use to produce food. We still import those into the country. We don't have a system in place that makes sure that we produce these things ourselves. So we're still very much playing catch up with the second revolution. The third revolution, which involves now programmable and logic and systems and so forth, that we haven't fully understood, because we are still playing catch up with the second one. So in order for us to have a complete understanding of these revolutions, I think it may take, given the setup of our governance system, it may take actually the government making a bold decision that we need to invest in production systems. There are a lot of things that we don't have, or we are unable to acquire, simply because government is not involved in the early stages of these developmental systems. Whereas other countries, developed countries they are called developed today because they built these systems, they are in place. Their defense industries are well equipped because they are able to produce. So
indeed.
Yes.
So when you are speaking about playing catch up and governance systems that you've mentioned, where does that leave us in the when the president put together this task force now for the fourth industrial revolution? Questions popped up as to whether that committee is constituted of proper individuals who can lead, not really individuals, but not because of who they are as people, but who they are as professionals. Whether that task force is inclusive enough, and whether you have, especially from your organization, whether you have full confidence in this committee taking us the step forward.
It's very difficult to tell, because my understanding when I inquired, I was informed that this is more of a fact-finding team, whereby they would like to assess and so forth. And then several arguments arise now. What exactly are you assessing and so forth? But with regards to now the committee, or what is it called, is a commission.
Yeah, the task force.
The task force, with regards to whether they are capable of taking us through the fourth industrial revolution. I don't know now if their duty is to take us through the revolution, or is to simply assess the situation, the so-called readiness of the country, which, I mean, we all know we are not ready, and so forth. But nevertheless, look, a lot of things here are the prerogative of the executive. The president is the head of the executive and so forth. And I wouldn't really critic, or rather criticize him for the people that he appoints. I think most likely, you see, he has advisors, people that are supposed to be specialized and well skilled in all of these: economic development, industrial enterprise, and all of that kind of stuff. So now I wondered to myself that if these people really do a thorough job before they present recommendations to the head of state, because I would think that for an effort such as this one, you need industrialists. You don't need academics. Academics have never been industrialists. I can prove this to you by the fact that even with professional bodies, they do not require to be registered, meaning they practice in a sphere of knowledge development and not knowledge application. So when you're looking at serious matters of economic development, such as an industrial effort, you need to seriously consider putting in place a team of industrialists, people with experience, who are seasoned in how industries are formed, how industries thrive, how industries actually bring about the economic growth of a nation. So I looked at the list. There's a gentleman from South Africa. He's also an academic. He has several accolades in mechanical engineering, I believe, but still he's not a practicing mechanical engineer. You see, in my experience, when you work with academics, and don't get me wrong, I mean, we need these people because they are the feeder to the industry. They are the feeders of knowledge to the industry. But we have always understood that academics does not run industries. You can put me as an industry engineer and an academic, someone with an academic qualification in engineering, with maybe 50 years of teaching, and me with 5 years of industrial experience. You'll find that I get more things done than the academic person. So what you get from academia is more theory. Right? So for something such as the fourth industrial revolution, other countries are serious about this. So if you want to be serious about it as well, then you need to look at who are the industrialists. If you don't have those people, which I doubt very much, I mean, we have so many professional people already. We are 30 years into independence, right? And we have had this argument before: do we have the capacity or we don't? We have proved at different levels that we have the capacity. So if you're looking at appointing, or rather putting together a team that will assist in taking this country forward as far as the Industrial Revolution is concerned. You want to be looking at who are the seasoned industrialists, who are the people that have experience in how industries are formed, developed, and advanced. You know, so innovators, you're talking about innovators, entrepreneurs, you know. The fourth industrial revolution is more about artificial intelligence, robotics systems, you know, more innovative and advanced ideas. We talk about space programs or robotics programs and so forth. You need people with practical experience in those areas. Academic experience, trust me, the experiments that we do in the university when we're studying engineering, most of the time they end there. The real world is not about experiments. The real world is about the real development of humanity, or rather of mankind. So it's hard to tell if they're doing an assessment as academics. I mean, they do a lot of surveying, you know, collecting data, doing research and so forth, and then they present a report. That is fine, they can do that. But if this task force is, the idea is for us to get there, I can tell you today that we won't get there. Number one, because we are not done with the second industrial revolution. We're still playing catch up. We have barely understood the third one. A lot of people don't even know about the first one. And then secondly, now we are even starting the wrong way.
Indeed. One of the things that people suspect a lot in Namibia is that, you know, there's a lot of patronage in this country, so much that for anyone to serve on some of these bodies, like that task force or any other, it's not solely based on what you can bring on the table in terms of your professional capacity. But it's a combination of probably both, but more leaning towards, you know, what are your political alienations. If you are in a particular political party, you know, which faction within that party do you belong to? So it becomes thinner and thinner. The opportunity for anyone with that skill to serve becomes thinner and thinner as because of those many patronage vetting systems that have been put in place. Is that something that you, as an observer of politics and as an observer of the professionalization of our country generally in those areas that you have also made? You see, without getting much into the politics of things, because I'm not a politician. I've not even understood yet how politics, what is politics? Like, how do politicians make this or that decision? You know, so but just from my perspective, as far as the technical industry is concerned, I do feel that there's a lack of technical input in the governance process. I think a lot of our people do not believe that technical people, you know, industrialists, engineers, architects, or quantity surveyors, you know, production experts, we kind of still don't believe that they can offer good advice in terms of running the country, or simply a certain section of what concerns the government. So my experience has been that, like now we had, and I think it's still a problem, the economic recession and so forth. And I always ask myself that, you know, you can simply study how the world economy has worked over the centuries. You know, you'll find that it's powered by industrial excellence, not political excellence. You know, political power is authorized, or the people give authority to political entities
you know, to run affairs on their behalf. But that does not mean that only politicians can be appointed when you have the when you are given the authority to appoint people like advisors, you know, managers, agents, and so forth. You're supposed to now say, the people have given me this mandate, and in order for me to achieve it, let me tap into this expertise, you know, in order for things to be run as required. So I've had problems with, for instance, the suspension of construction projects without foreseeing the impact it will have on small contractors and so forth. All of those things, and then you ask yourself that who is advising the system? So now we are here, and it has been a trend whereby committees, task forces, commissions are appointed, and then we don't really know where they end. You know, so in my assessment, we need a reboot on how we look at things. Like, I'm not a politician. I don't even need to be aligned to any political force to be a Namibian, you know. I'm still out there. You don't need me to be a part of your political party if you need my input on something and so forth. I think we need to abandon that system whereby okay, he or she has this certain set of skills, but I'm not appointing them because they are not affiliated. You know, things those are things that bring us down. We must appoint people because these are Namibians that are willing and ready to actually move this country forward. We have a lot of expertise just out there, unused, untapped. You know, and now it's a situation that you can fully comprehend when you really think about it deeply.
Indeed. Charles, the last question to you then is, what is the future of engineering in Namibia? We are told that the industry is saturated, there are too many graduates coming through and they're not getting jobs. Is it because the size of the industry itself is not big enough to accommodate everyone, or do we need to branch out into new fields of engineering as opposed to the old traditional engineering areas that have always carried that industry?
All right. So we are in a recession right now as far as my assessment goes. It's very difficult actually for a lot of folks. Our system is set up in such a way that only someone with a formal education can make it most of the time. People are made to believe that only a formal education with a paper can take you somewhere and so forth. We need to develop TVET. Our vocational institutions need to be developed. There are a lot of capable and talented young men and women who can succeed in life if they are given the opportunity through the vocational training centers. I know that the government has been pushing TVET so hard, but we need to do more. Now, all of those, I'm talking about TVET because it's actually part of the engineering fraternity. So now, with regards to the mainstream engineering sector that everyone understands and knows about, one of the problems that we have in Namibia is that it's not quite clear where are we going, what is our purpose as a nation. Namibia, what is it, what is our goal? I mean, we have Vision 2030, it's 9 years away. I don't know if there are so many people that can tell me today that this is where we have, this is how far we have come as far as Vision 2030 is concerned, and this is where we will be by 2030, which is 9 years from now. And now we are talking about the fourth industrial revolution, which the whole world is moving towards, and we don't really have proper systems in place. So then the system is not growing. The industry is not growing. That is a very big problem. We have challenges in the education sector already, where institutions in Namibia, tertiary institutions, are competing with new courses to introduce without really sitting down to think about the people that are going to graduate, who is going to employ them, which market is going to absorb them. Yes. The industry is very tiny, so it's not every engineer that will get employment. Let's teach entrepreneurship. Let's make it part of mandatory modules for all engineering programs. Yes. Right? And then if you're talking about teaching entrepreneurship, can we put systems in place so that the environment is ready and conducive for these guys to be entrepreneurs? I mean, you don't always have to say who is going to employ them. It's not always about that. Yes. Sometimes it's about making the environment conducive and ready to maintain the ideas or to sustain the ideas that these people are coming they're coming out of university with. We have a lot of young guys. We saw now during the 2 engineering weeks, we have a lot of young guys with great ideas, you know, but the environment is just not ready. The market is not ready to absorb and accept their ideas. The environment is not conducive enough to give them capital to start their innovative ideas. And even when they get started, we don't have a system in place to sustain them. So those are the things that we need to look at. We need to make sure that we focus our energy to create a conducive environment. Part of the responsibilities of any government is to create an environment that actually promotes and sustains industrial enterprise. I look at the government and I think it's a political organization. That is the main reason, the main purpose of a government as a political organization is not supposed to be like what we have now in Namibia. It's supposed to be geared towards creating a conducive environment for the citizens, the investors to participate in. So now you're looking at what systems do we put in place for the graduates, those that get employed, that find employment in other companies. That is great, but what about those that don't find employment? They have the knowledge, but they don't have the capital, they don't have the tools, they don't have the human resources. Maybe they would want to create, design and build robots and use those robots to create this and that product and so forth. How do we make sure that the environment is ready to understand what they are doing? We don't teach enough the idea of consuming local produce. Already there we are not doing enough. A lot of people, even some of the people that you know, don't really believe in the Namibian product. And most of the time it's left to these producers to invent ways in which they can convince the public. But I believe that this is where now the government must come in and use its full force to say that these are my producers and I'm going to create this or that type of environment for them to succeed. I'm going to make sure that if we are importing toothpicks from South Africa, right, I'm going to put a moratorium. Maybe we're going to allow 40% of imports of toothpicks. The rest 60% must be produced by the locals, so that you have more local products available to be purchased. And this thing goes like a ripple effect. The moment you do that, the moment you create, you make a concise, a conscious effort to create shelf space for the few producers that you have, you are actually creating a ripple effect that goes through the entire economic system. And before you know it, 5 years down the line, you have actually grown this economy than if you just maintain imports at the levels at which they are. So a lot of engineers are unemployed. They are struggling. Some have been retrenched. Some want to start something that they don't have the means to do so. Some have started, but the system is not, it doesn't sustain ideas. So it's bad. It's that bad. And I think for me, from my position, I would like to call on the government to do more. One of the ways is to get involved in the ideas that are being put forward. Get involved. We have a national engineering week, which was started by a voluntary non-profit association. Those are good initiatives. Government can get behind that. Other countries, actually, their governments are doing this on themselves. Like, let's create platforms through which industrial enterprise can thrive. So government can get on board the various ideas that are being put forth and try and push it forward. Because I mean, no one can compete against or with government as far as power is concerned.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need that power now to be channeled and directed in that direction.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Charles, thank you very much for coming through. We hope to see you again soon as we continue to observe and track the progress that is being made in that space. So thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
definitely.
it. Yeah.
That is Charles Mukwaso. He is president of the Namibia Society
of Engineers.
Of Engineers. So sorry about that. Yeah, of course, talking to us about the fourth industrial revolution that has just been, that we are trying to kickstart as Namibia, and of course sharing his views on that and matters related to engineering in Namibia. Thank you for watching. But before I let you go, we have seen earlier in the day that our own girl, Christine Mboma, has won a silver medal in the final of the Tokyo Olympics, the 200-meter race there. Of course, just finishing after Elaine Thompson-Herah of Jamaica, and Gabriela Thomas of the USA, of course, came third after Christine. A very big, proud moment for Namibia. The other lady, our other girl, Christine Marceling, Beatrice Marceling, rather, finished, I think, 6th. It was not good enough, but we continue. So now in the next segment, sports, of course, as far as Olympics is concerned, sponsored by MultiChoice, we are now going to look at Namibian swimmer Philip Seidler, who is going to run on Thursday, just giving us an update on how he's preparing for that. Thank you for watching.
We were born for this moment. For every rise, every fall, to make the impossible possible. To create moments that inspire and live the thrill of excellence.
On the grandest stage of all.
Forget the past, for the future awaits. This is that moment we've all been waiting for pride, for country, for you.
Brilliant performance that was.
The Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. It's go time on GoTV. Love it.
Hi, my name is Philip Seidler. I'm 23 years old and representing Namibia at the Olympic Games for 10-kilometer marathon open water swimming. My experience so far has been amazing. I arrived 4 days ago. I've been training for the last 4 days in the pool twice a day, and those last 3 days I'm just training on the open water facilities just to acclimatize, which means getting used to the hot sun, getting used to the hot water temperature, which is 29 degrees at the moment, and also just filling out the course and building racing strategies for my upcoming race. My upcoming race will be on the 5th of August, 11:30 p.m. Namibian time, and I can't wait to represent Namibia, and also just to put Namibia on the world map. It's such an honor, and I will give it my best and my all, and I love you all. Bye.